What do we know to do if we don't yet know what our spiritual gift is? Well, one of the most important things Paul addresses at the end of chapter 12, he says, all are not apostles. All are not prophets. All are not teachers. All are not workers of miracles. All do not have gifts of healings. All do not speak with tongues. All do not interpret, but earnestly desire the greater gifts. Now, we could go and elaborate on all of that, but suffice it to say, Paul is kind of taking what he's already taught in chapter 12, what we looked at last week. He's saying, you know what? We all have different gifts. That's just another way of saying it. We all have different gifts. Don't worry if you don't have the gift that Alex has, or if you don't have the gift that our brother Bob has, or our brother Bob. Don't worry about it. Instead, I want to show you a more important way, a more excellent way, a way that far surpasses all of the gifts. All of the spiritual gifts pale in comparison to what God is going to show us through the Apostle Paul. This way of life, this more excellent way, should be the foundation for the use of every spiritual gift. If it's not, we've missed the mark. So this more excellent way is the foundation upon which the rest of our lives should be built. Paul takes an entire chapter to extol the virtues of this more excellent way. Simply put, this more excellent way is the way of love. Paul explains the importance of love through hyperbole in the first 3 verses, exaggerated statements. Paul then defines love for us in verses 4 through 7. And then he kind of wraps up the chapter by extolling the reality that love is the greatest of all. So let's walk through the chapter. Tongues was an important gift to the church at Corinth. They missed the mark in that, and Paul addressed that. But to them, this was the most important gift, and I think that's why Paul starts off with, hey, if I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, if I have the most elaborate gifting possible in their mind, but I do not have love, I've become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. You know, I thought about that, trying to come up with an illustration, and the best I could come up with was back when I was a kid, probably 6, 7, 8 years old. We'd stay up till midnight to bring in the new year. We lived out in the country, and at the stroke of midnight, we were allowed to go outside and bang pots and pans together. That was our way of bringing in the new year. It's kind of silly in one sense, but it illustrates the idea. That's what a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal is. There was just noise, chaos. It really had no value. And if we don't have love, but we speak with tongues, it's pointless. Verse 2, he goes on to say, if I have the gift of prophecy, if I know all mysteries, if I have all knowledge, if I have all faith so as to move mountains. Again, he's getting into some of these, what most of us would consider greater gifts, but he says, if I have all of these gifts, but I exercise those gifts without love, I'm no one. I want you to just play a game with me real quickly. Who is one of your favorite prophets from the Bible? Elijah. Jeremiah. Daniel. The rest of you will get a failing grade. You failed Bible 101. Prophets should be like that, man. Moses was one of the greatest, was he not? Okay, but anyhow, think of it. If they had proclaimed the oracle of God without love, God says, they're no one. The same is true today. He goes on to verse 3. If I give all my possessions to feed the poor. Talk about somebody who is generous. They gave away everything they had, even to the point of giving their own life, giving their own body to be burned. But if they do it from the wrong motivation, Jesus said, it profits me nothing. Now, I want to clarify something here. It doesn't just say it profits nothing. It profits me nothing, the one who's doing the giving. Because guess what? If you give all of your possessions to feed the poor, it is profiting the poor. So he's not denying that. But it profits the giver nothing. I can't help but think of the words of Jesus in Matthew 6. He's talking about if you pray to be seen by men, if you fast to be seen by men, if you give to be seen by men, that's your reward. That's it. He's basically saying the same thing. It profits you nothing because you did it from wrong motives. And so Paul's point in these first 3 verses is to show us and the Corinthians the power of love and the priority of love. It is foundational for everything we do as disciples of Jesus Christ. And even when it feels like he may not be there, he will never leave us nor forsake us.
Amen.